All right, welcome. What is it? It is the 24th of February already. So we're going to dive in today when it comes to focus. Success and focus go hand in hand. And I'm a bit of a Smashing Pumpkins fan. And there's a song, and the line goes, the world has been sent to seek and destroy, and the world is a vampire. That's it, sent to seek and destroy. Descent to drain. There we go. The world is a vampire. It'd help if I actually knew the lyric well enough to talk about it. But the world is a vampire sent to drain. And the world is designed to drain your bank account. Who knows that? Between taxes, between home maintenance, between all of that. So the world is going to drain your bank account, but the world is also designed to drain your focus. And focus now equals income. Focus now equals happiness. Yeah, we've got more distractions than any other time in history, I would say. And we've got a brain that's been completely hardwired over the last 10, 20 years for dopamine addiction. So focus is a big one that people don't realize. But most people don't have a work ethic problem, they have a distraction problem. Who would agree with that? It's not that the work is like, let's face it, we are not mining coal in a quarry with a little bird. And if the bird passes out, we need to get out of the mine before we die. Like, that was hard work. Yeah. We're not working like that. But how many people feel absolutely exhausted? And it's not from a physical labor standpoint, is it? It's about the amount of distractions that are going on in our life. So we are going to fix that. So high achievers don't work harder, they work clearer. How clear are you on your outcomes this week? And I'm going to start with this. What's your outcome for happiness? Is that an outcome anywhere wrote down? Like this week, in order for me to feel happy, in order for my family to be happy, I need to achieve these things. Or is it other things? Is it, this is my business goal? They're fine, but are they serving you where you actually want to go? So, what is your happiness goal? What's your fun goal? What do you need to do to have more fun this week? What would change in life if that was the goal? Yeah, it's so easy to have the goals for business, isn't it? So, what we're going to cover is the cost of distraction, how to train your mind to be a high performer, and then the 3 steps to sharpen your focus. So, if you think about the world being a vampire sent to distract you, sent to take your money off you, what are the 3 biggest forms of distraction in your life right now? I want you to write those down. I'm not going to get you to share, but Ruth, you'll have to think about it. But what are your 3 biggest distractions that is affecting you to get your clarity, get your focus dialed in? One form of distraction that a lot of people use is fear of the future, imagining worst case scenario. And it is a TV show that we love. Does that make sense? We love cliffhangers, we love drama. And so a lot of times people are imagining things not working out, imagining things going wrong. And they can use that every single day. And it is a form of distraction. Or they're remembering the past and when it failed last time, how it didn't go according to plan last time. So, what are your distractions? And you might already know this, but every time you get a distraction, it takes your brain 23 minutes, so science says, to get your brain back to where it was before. So if there is a ping, that's it. If this thing goes ping, 23 minutes for you to get dialed back in. All right. How often do you hear a notification? I've seen it with my kids. They had a social media thing that would make a distinctive noise, and they would all drop everything they're doing to go over to that platform. Now they're not on it. So is it a buzz? Is it a ping on the computer? Like how many I've turned all my notifications off. The only time I can see if I've got an email or a text is if I go into my text or email because it was absolutely sabotaging my day. And I came up with a little phrase, this thing is here for my convenience, not others. Does that make sense? So we've got to set the boundaries. People are like gas. They'll take up every inch of real estate in your home. If you open a propane tank, it will fill, I don't care if it's 1,000 square foot apartment or a 4,000 square foot house. It will fill every nook and cranny. If you're allowing people to call you after a certain period of time, if you're allowing people to call you on the weekends, if it's not your designed time to do it, then I'd encourage you to not answer it. So the distractions are killing you. 23 minutes. So if you think about you're working and they say we get about 6 to 10 pings on these things per hour. If it takes you 23 minutes to get your brain back to where you were before, you cannot win. Yeah. The math doesn't add up. So are your notifications on? And distractions aren't just annoying, they're actually costing you the momentum. John Maxwell says momentum is the hardest thing to get, but the easiest thing to lose. I see so many people, they start getting momentum. And the visual for me is like they're pushing this pickup truck and they get it moving and they go, finally. And the pickup truck comes to a rest again. So they re-psych themselves up, they get behind it, they start pushing, it gets moving. They're like, finally. And they stop pushing. How hard is it to start a pickup truck rolling? It's brutal, isn't it? What about keeping it rolling? So much easier. But I see again and again and again, people start getting momentum and that's when they stop. They think that their goal is to get the thing rolling rather than getting it to a destination. So where are you getting momentum and then sabotaging it? I want you to write that down. Where is there a pattern where you start getting momentum? Could it be business? Could it be fitness? Could it be relationships? Could it be savings? Start getting some money together and you're like, oh, now I can afford to eat out again. Now I can afford to buy a new car. And you right back to where you started. Where's your momentum killers? And then the hidden cost of multitasking. There is no such thing as multitasking. There is going from one thing to another really quickly, but you can only do one thing at a time. The human brain does not multitask. So multitasking is the illusion of effectiveness. So if you're like, hey, I'm going to listen to this book, I'm going to clean the kitchen, I'm going to make dinner for the family, I'm going to call, somebody just catch up. I'm going to do some texts as I'm listening to this. You can, you're either listening. Has anybody ever been listening to a podcast or an audiobook and then realized that this wasn't turned on and it's just sound and you're like, oh, wow, I have not been paying any attention, but it sounds good that we'll listen to an audiobook. Yeah. One of the best places I found for audiobooks is in the car. If I'm doing it somewhere else, I've got to minimize the distractions. I believe there's different types of reading, there's different types of listening, and there's active listening, which is where I'm just taking notes, and there's passive listening. Passive listening is me in the gym, is me driving in the car. But that active listening is me stopping, thinking about what they're saying, taking notes, and then deciding what I'm going to do from that information. So I believe we can do both. Yeah. It's good reinforcement to do the passive listening in the gym and in the car. But if you really want to grab the information from those podcasts or those books, make sure that you're writing it down. You've got a place to write it down and you're taking some type of new action towards it. Overthinking is a productivity killer. So many people They're wanting to get 100% certainty before going into action. They want to know that all the workout routine, which shoes to wear, what food to eat before joining the gym. Is it the best gym? I'm going to research the gyms. Overthinking is killing people's momentums. Overthinking is a misuse of your imagination. All right. Your creativity, your intellect. I want you thinking just simply. One of my buddies said, think about being in a canoe. What's just the next logical paddle stroke? If you know the next logical paddle stroke, you don't need to know the next 100 paddle strokes or what paddle strokes you'll be doing next year in your life. So let's start with business. What is, if you were going to grow your business this week, if you were going to move it towards a better destination, what's the next logical paddle stroke that you could do today? What's something that you've been putting off that if you knew you took action today towards it, it would benefit your business? I want you to write that down. One thing that you could do today that would grow your business. I went to a networking group on Friday for 4 hours, 4 hours networking group. I promise you, I was done in an hour. And I was like, oh, after an hour, I went, oh my, I am completely socially spent. Anybody else ever felt that? And it's just like, oh, but I'm like, but it's good for business. It is good for business. And this is what it takes to grow. Even though I'm not comfortable and I don't like this, um, it's still good for me to do it. Yeah. A lot of times we're seeking comfort. The irony is I went out for dinner with some friends the next night, and at this golf simulator, I recognized one of the guys from the mastermind, and I walked up and I had probably a 15-minute conversation with him. And my wife was like, "Who is that? How do you know people here?" And I was like, "Oh, the mastermind." My wife was like, "I was in the mastermind too." And how did come? I don't know that person. I was like, "I don't know. Maybe I'm more social." If you know my wife's the most social person I think I've ever met. But it was good for me to get in front of different people. Yeah. It's not comfortable for me to do it, but it's the next logical paddle stroke to move my business in the direction that I want to take it. Yeah. So, what's the thing that you might not want to do, but would be good for you? I want you to write that down. What's a thing that you might not want to do? Maybe it's networking events, but it is good for you. If more people knew about your business, if more people knew about your service, would that be good for your business? If you knew more business people, would that be good for business? Is there a part of your business that you need to know more in order to get the results you want? With health, fitness, what's one thing you've been putting off that you know if you took that action, it would move you towards your outcome in your fitness? And that might be wall squats when you brush your teeth, jumping jacks every time you're going to brush your hair. It's something. Last night, I looked at my phone and it said I did 9,000 steps. And I went, oh, thought I hit 10 today. But I've committed to doing 10,000 steps a day. So I walked up and down the stairs and through the kitchen last night at about 11 o'clock, I think about 20 times. And I got my steps in. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, I'm over it. It's 10,132. But I'd made a commitment to achieving that goal. Yeah. I woke up this morning, got right out because I made that commitment. I was like, I nearly missed it yesterday. I'm not going to do that today. So, what's one thing that you can do to move towards your fitness goals? What's one thing with your kids? What's one thing that you may have been putting off that would move you towards your outcomes with your kids or with a significant other? So we're going to focus on single intensity. Like, again, I learned this in Africa. When I watch the lions, when they rest, they're like your domestic cat. They're on their back, completely fast asleep. There's not a care in the world in those creatures when they sleep, because when lions sleep, they sleep. Fully sleep. When a lion plays, it fully plays. And when a lion hunts, it hunts. I saw the lions playing right next to the zebra and the gazelle. And I asked the driver, I said, why are the animals not running? He said, there's no threat, because when lions play, they play. And I went, yeah, but lion play looks a lot like lion hunting. I was like, if I was a zebra, I'd be on the other side of the savannah. And he said, yeah, but there is no threat when a lion plays, because it just plays. I said, yeah, but if I was a lion, I'd pretend to play and get closer to the gazelle and jump on one. He said, lions don't pretend. And then the lioness sat up and her ears shifted, and it was like an electric shock through all the animals. I said, what just happened? He said, oh, the lioness just got hungry. And when lions hunt, they hunt. And you've probably heard me talk about this before, but it's such a good reminder. Are we blending things? Or can we bring our presence? So when we work, let's work. When we play, let's play. When we rest, let's rest. But let's not blend it together. So 3 steps, all right? Success is about subtraction, not addition, yeah? If my cup is already filled, I can't put more in it. So I want you to think about taking things away. It's not about moving forward that's going to get you success. It's about pulling back. You may have to say no to something to get more in your cup. Yeah. And maybe that's TV. Maybe it's distraction. Maybe it's chit chat. What is it? So write down the top 3 distractions. And then I want you to set down some boundaries. What are the boundaries around those 3 distractions that you put down? What are the standards? So is that no phone in the morning until you've worked out? Or is that getting up and listening to something positive first thing in the morning? Like, what are your boundaries around eliminating your top 3 distractions? I want you to write those down. What are the 3 boundaries that would help you get rid of your 3 distractions? Some people like the word rules. Some people like boundaries. I like the word standards. What are your standards going to be with food? I know if there is chocolate in the house. Now, I'm talking good chocolate. I'm not talking a Snickers or a Hershey's Kiss. I'm not interested. But like good dark chocolate, if it's in the house, I will eat it all. So my standard is I give it the kids to hide, and they will not tell me where it is. All right, there it is, because they like to bake banana bread and all of that stuff. But I'm not going to have it available to me because I'll find it in my mouth without thinking. Does that make sense? So I'm going to make it difficult for me. So get your standards down. If you need to get your kids involved, a spouse involved, a friend involved, in order for you to hold that standard, do it. So that's step 1. All right. You write down your 3 distractions and you write down your standards that you're going to use to eliminate those distractions. All right. Step 2, define your true North Star. Every sailor in the old world needed to know where the North Star is in order to travel. Yeah. They navigated. So most people don't have a focus problem. They have a clarity problem. So I want you to ask yourself, what is your number 1 priority in your business in the next 90 days? And I want you to write that down. What's the number 1 priority in your business in the next 90 days? And then I want you to write down what's the single most important action you can take today to move towards that outcome. Is this helping? We're just breaking it down. We're just making it simple. And then I just want you to think about setting tonight what your single biggest action you will take tomorrow to help you achieve your outcome is. So don't go to bed tonight until you're absolutely clear on what your biggest action will be tomorrow to move you towards that outcome. And then we've all heard of the 80-20 rule. There's going to be 20% of your actions that give you 80% of your results. Would you all agree with that? I found that to be 100% true. Most people are spending way too much time in the 80% of the actions that give them 20% of the results. So if success was guaranteed, I want you to write down, if you've got 10 actions you're doing, I want you to find the 2 that give you 80% of those results. And then I want you to double them. I want you to do those twice as much as what you're currently doing. Which means if you look at the 80%, you're either going to have to do a lot less on some of those or get rid of them. So what's your 80-20? I want you to write down what the 20% top actions that you could take now towards your outcome would be. And then finally, just like the gym, focus needs to be exercised. You know, you might be able to run for 5 minutes, but maybe you're going to build up to 10 in the next 4 weeks or 15. Your muscles will get stronger. My kids started track and field last week. 2 hours every day running, training. They were dying this weekend. Guess what? They're going to do it again this week. And the muscles will be less sore. 3rd week, 4th week. The body will get used to it. I want you to build up your focus muscle. Get better at focusing on the things that matter for longer periods of times. And then set your daily focus rituals. How can you design a ritual that allows you to focus more, focus longer? And then I want you to think about time blocking. Bring that lion mentality. 45 minutes of full focus on one thing. If you had 45 minutes to fully focus on one thing, and then you take a 5-minute break, promise you this works, 5-minute break, and then you do another 45 minutes towards your outcome. But you know what the outcome is at the end of those 45 minutes. So clarity wins. Know what your outcomes are. Next 90 days, block it off today. Get a 45-minute chunk. If you haven't got 45 minutes, do 30 minutes. If you don't have 35 minutes, do 20 minutes. If you don't have 20 minutes, you probably need to do an hour because you've got too many things going on. Does that make sense? If you don't have 20 minutes, you need to do an hour to get clear on how to eliminate some of the distractions. So in chat, what was the top take homes you got from today? Identify your distractions. Awesome. Set your boundaries around those distractions. Wonderful. Plan around them to minimize. Wonderful. Subtractions, not additions. Yep. Everybody's pretty full. So let's take things away. Give us our space to get creative. So thanks for being on today. I will see you next week and have an amazing week. Catch you later.